1 p.m. I put 2 p.m.
It's a time change.
Welcome to the Sportz Phenz Show. The show where, just like you, we can't get enough sports.
The 47-year wait is over! And the Nuggets win it! Wilson throwing, it's up for grabs, and it's caught for the touchdown! And the Denver Broncos have taken Super Bowl 50. And the Avalanche are 2022 Stanley Cup champions! And a shot into the back of the net for Diego Rubio!
Now here's your hosts, Arthur Knight and Larry Perkins.
1-0 Rapids. They are champions.
Yeah. Welcome to the Sportz Phenz Show. I am Arthur Knight, and Larry is out. He's under the weather today, so we gave him the day off. He's resting. Rest easy, my friend. Both of our teams lost today. But I am coming to you live from Sohai Cafe at 4300 West Alameda here in Denver. Come on by, say what's up to Vinny, tell him the Sportz Phenz sent you, see if you can finagle a discount out of him. I don't know if you can, but he's pretty good about those things. But make sure you get your pre-orders for next week. Next week is Chiefs week, so we play the Chiefs. Yeah, we got our butts whooped. The Broncos got their butts whooped today by the Baltimore Ravens. But let's be honest. Let's talk about it, Broncos fans. Were we really thinking that the Broncos were going to beat the Ravens today? I didn't think they would beat them. I definitely thought they would play better than they did. Bo Nix had a underwhelming game. He got no help from the run game whatsoever. I mean, it was just it was a cluster all the way around. Watching that was very painful. That Lamar Jackson, that Derrick Henry combination, man, that's a lethal combination. How do you stop a freight train coming at you? I mean, how big is Derrick Henry, man? He's out there like a tight end. He's like a tight end running the ball. But he has incredible patience and skill and timing when he hits the hole. The fact that this is the first year he's played with Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens is a testament to his skill, man. Like, he's leading in all categories. I think he's pretty much over 1,000 yards in this game for the season already, and we still have 8 games to play. Like, that's insane to me. But man, kudos to the Ravens. They were in their home field, and they handled business, man. I mean, they got 106 yards on 23 carries from Henry. Lamar Jackson was 16 of 19 for 280 yards and 3 tutties. Like, how do you stop that? I believe that is a perfect QBR. You can't really stop that when they're on fire like that. And take your hat off or tip your hat to the defense, the Denver defense. In the first half, they really did hold their own. I'm just going to say it, man. I think there was a couple of poor decisions to go for it on 4th down so early in the game by Sean Payton. Didn't make any sense, especially the one where they could have gotten a field goal. It would have been 16 to, they could have gotten a couple of field goals and went for 4th down and didn't get it. It would have been 16 to 17 or even 16 to 24 going into the half, even if, Baltimore still makes that score that they made. They did, both sides of the ball for the Denver Broncos looked locked in until, Baltimore went down the field at the end of the quarter. And, oops, we'll get to Ryan later. They did seem locked in the first half, especially the first quarter. Bo Nix seemed very calm, cool, collected. He seemed like he was in control of the offense. I mean, don't get me wrong. The first play of the game, he did throw it off the hands of little Jordan Humphrey and threw the interception, but that wasn't really on Bo Nix. You know what I mean? That was more or less on little Jordan Humphreys that hit his hands. It was a little high. The pass was a little high. It was, but it was catchable because it hit his hands, so it was catchable. I think he was more worried about getting hit than he was catching the ball, and that was the major problem. Hey, Vinny, do you think you could turn this light on, or is there something to stop this glare? It's like right in my... It's distracting me. But, you know, we as Bronco fans knew that this was going to be a tough game. Thank you, sir. This was going to be a tough game. I really thought they would play as good as they did in the first quarter throughout the game. I did not think that they would win. I was hopeful that they would win. You know, that would give the Broncos country a lot of, you know, just good feelings about this team, because right now, you know, it's been 7-8 years since there's been a good feeling in Broncos country. We've had to deal with a lot of craziness, from crazy coaches to crazy GMs to crazy quarterbacks, man. We've had to go through it all. So to see a team that's actually, you know, playing well, and I still see there were still flashes of good things to come. The Broncos just aren't there yet. Let's just be real. They're just not there yet. Still a rookie quarterback, and he has those rookie tendencies every once in a while. The Broncos got to get some help from their running game. Their running game is here this week, gone the next. And, I mean, they started McLaughlin, and I was like, well, okay, let's see what he could do. But then he only got like 5 carries. I do not think that the offense, the play caller, Sean Payton, also the head coach, is giving enough touches, especially in the beginning of the game, to the running backs. He's just coming out and trying to go guns a-blazing with his rookie quarterback, and sometimes it's worked. Today they came up against a better defense and a better team, and they got their butts whooped, for lack of a better term. They literally got their butts whooped 41-10. Now, that wasn't as bad as like the 70 burger that Miami put up on them last year, but 41-10 is still a pretty good butt whooping. And nobody wants to lose by, 31 points. It's not a good look. They need to get more out of their running game. They have a couple of good running backs. Estime seems to be good. I mean, he averaged 7, but he only got 5 carries. Javonte took the load of the game with 12 carries, but he only got 42 yards, which is just shy of what Bo Nix got at 36 yards. And then Estime in his 5 carries did get 35 yards in his, but that could have been during garbage time at the end of the game. I couldn't watch the rest of the game. I had to get prepared for the show. So it's a ridiculous notion to say that the Broncos were going to go into Baltimore and whoop the crap out of the Ravens. Now, would it have been nice? Yes, but or even won the game. I just wish they would have made it a little more competitive. That'd have been easier to watch than to watch what we had to watch today. So, but my hat's off to the defense playing as well as they did under the circumstances that they had to play under. I mean, their first defensive stint after the interception, they basically stood stout. I mean, they did. They pushed Baltimore out of the red zone. They started in the red zone and pushed them back out of the red zone for a punt. And then the Broncos offense couldn't do anything. So, eventually that 41, you can't hang that just on the defense alone. This defense has played really, really well all season. They're top 3 in a lot of different categories. They might even be might have been the number 1 defense going into this game. They won't be coming out of this game, but they were going in. They've played their butts off, and they were put in a tough situation. They were not helped in any way, shape, or form by their offense. A bunch of 3-and-outs. Having to play that much time in a game will wear on any defense. I don't care how good they are. even the no-fly zone, if they would have done that on that defense, which was a great defense, if the offense wasn't ran by Peyton Manning and Peyton Manning wasn't controlling the clock and scoring touchdowns and doing what they were doing and allowing the defense to be able to pin their ears back and cause the other team to play one-dimensional, all these things that teams are doing to the Broncos right now, if that defensive team was even put in this type of situation where the offense wasn't moving the ball in any way, shape, or form, controlling the clock, doing anything, then they would have gotten a 41, 50, 70-something burger dropped on them too. That's just what happens when your offense does not play whatsoever, or doesn't play well. They played, but a lot of 3-and-outs, man, and there wasn't a lot of heart there. Couple of holding call, the holding call on Bowles to remove the touchdown, man. He just bear hugged his guy. That brings up another thought. It's time to turn the page on some of these older Broncos. They moved on from Simmons. They moved on from all of these other guys that had been around all of these losing seasons, and they kept Bowles. And Bowles hasn't played terrible this year, but he hasn't played great either. It's almost like he's up and down. Sometimes it's like, okay, he's good. And then other times, it's the same old Bowles. He's holding. He's false start. He's down the field too quickly. All of these things. He's too long in the tooth to be making all of these mistakes still as a quote-unquote premier left tackle in the league. It might be time to move on from him next season. Hopefully the Broncos can get a good draft pick, even if it's a 3rd, 4th, or 5th round draft pick on the offensive line, left tackle, or if they get lucky that somebody releases a good tackle this year and they're able to pick them up in free agency. Remember, they took the brunt end of that Russell Wilson contract this year. So next year they'll have a little more wiggle room to, maybe be able to release him. I've got to look and see if they've re-signed him, or I believe this is a contract year. But even so, you've got to just eat that dead money and let Bowles go play somewhere else, man. It's just like I said, he's been in the league too long. He's played on this team too long for him to be making the same old mistakes. And I, for one, as a Bronco fan, am tired of seeing it. That touchdown that they took away changes the game, right? At that point, it would have been 17 to 24, and they would have had an opportunity, for the defense. It would have kept the Denver defense would have been able to keep the Baltimore offense, even keeled, and they would have had to be a little more honest and still have to play to their script, as opposed to, now we're just going to hand it to Derrick Henry as they did at the, for the remainder of that whole game, and just hand it to him for him to get 106 yards. God, I'm just disgusted with watching that game, to be honest with you. I'm really reserving myself right now, because it was a crazy thing to watch, to see them go from so in control to what the hell is going on. One bright spot though, one thing you rarely see in a game, let alone an NFL game, is a wide receiver fake. What was that? A toss to a fake wide receiver, not screen, but end around, right? So it was a toss to a fake end around, but he threw it to Bo Nix for a touchdown. Bo Nix, his only touchdown of the day is a catch from Cortland Sutton. That's crazy to me. That's the only touchdown that was thrown all day for the Broncos was by a wide receiver. That in itself speaks volumes to what the Broncos were trying to or had to do in order to try to beat Baltimore. Sean Payton. I know you don't watch this podcast and you probably don't listen to too many people who criticize you anyway, but I think you're making. Let me start with a positive. You're making good strides with this team where the fan base is happy. As far as I know, all of my friends and family who are Broncos fans, we're happy with the turnaround that you've done within one season. So don't take this criticism the wrong way, but the bottom line is I don't think you're playing to the strengths of your team right now. I get it that Bo Nix is not necessarily a rookie type. He's got a lot of experience from college, and he does have some guts, man. The kid's got moxie. Anybody with eyes and as a football fan can see that. They even had the commentators for the game saying, the Broncos are for real. Bo Nix, is showing some really good skills, some veteran skills as a rookie, but he's still a rookie, and you still need to try to figure out how to play to his strengths and the strengths of all of the talent that you have, and you're the one that helped acquire, with the little Jordan Humphreys, and let's get Devon Vele a little more looks. He's got 3 targets. He caught 2 of them. Let's get him some more targets, man. But let's get this offense, when I say short passes, I was going to say let's get the short game running. I'm not talking about those silly screens and stuff that you were throwing in the first couple of games. That's the reason why they lost those games. You need to stop trying to square peg, round hole. You need to just craft parts of your offense that will fit best with the talent that you actually have, and I think that you win this game today, or possibly, or at least make it competitive. I'm not sure that you win, even if you do that. The Broncos are just not as good as their record shows right now. They're playing really well. They've had a fairly easy schedule. They came up against a real team, and they got mollywopped. So we've got to take a step back as Bronco fans and realize that we still have a rookie quarterback. This is promising, though. It's not like we've got a Bill Belichick old coach who's on his way out. We still have a relatively young coach in Sean Payton. The money's going to open up within the next couple of years. They are going to be able to put talent around Bo Nix. It's just this year is not going to be that year. Even if now here's the good news, Broncos country. Here's the good news. To me personally, if you think about it, this team is trending up, and in the next couple of years, Bo Nix is going to get even better, and they're going to be able to put talent around him. And this defense, as long as VJ doesn't walk and get a head coaching job, which could happen, and then that could switch up things on the defense. But on the offensive side of the ball, man, they're going to be able to create generate some good offensive stuff. But if they can manage to win next week, and I know that's a tall task. You're going up against Super Bowl champions. They're probably coming out of this week undefeated as well. Are they on a bye week this week? Let me check. Does KC play this week? Oh, yeah. So they play Tampa Bay this week tomorrow night. So they could very well come out of this week 8-0. And we've got to go into Kansas City. The Denver Broncos got to go into Kansas City and beat the 8-0 Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. I know that is a tall glass of water to, swallow. That is a big lift. But if they manage to do so, today's loss won't be as hurtful as it seems at 41-10, right? Because if they can beat Kansas City, their in-division record is still pretty good, because they beat Vegas. They did lose to the Chargers, so I believe right now the Broncos are 1-1. But you beat Kansas City, that makes you 2-1, right? that gives you an edge. Even though you don't move up in the rankings, you may not move up to second place because of the fact that the Chargers have the tiebreaker on you. That puts you in a good position to possibly win the division. Could they do that? Yes. Is it likely to happen? Most likely not. But I'm hoping that, what we saw out of this Denver Broncos team, they have a good bounce back. They got their butts whooped today by Baltimore. The Kansas City Chiefs don't have a two-headed dragon like Baltimore has, right? They have a great quarterback. Nobody can take that away from Mahomes. Mahomes is great. He could go down as the greatest if he wins more championships. And even if he doesn't, he could still go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest quarterback of his time for sure. But maybe all time, depending on how his career wraps up. But he doesn't have a Derrick Henry. He doesn't have several. I mean, look, it's not just Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. Zay Flowers went off 5 receptions for 127 yards and 2 tutties as well on his 6 targets. So he only dropped or missed him once. Then there's also they have what's that boy's name? Mark Andrews. They have a tight end that they can throw to. So they have kind of a pick your poison. And Mahomes and KC, they do have their tight end, you know what I'm saying? Probably can go down as one of the greatest of all time. But that's all they really have on the offensive side of the ball. They haven't really played that well. Kansas City is beatable. I do believe that they are beatable. You just have to make sure that you stretch that score so far that Mahomes has to not believe that he can. Well, that's a hard task too, because he believes he can come back from it. It could be 41-10 at the half, and he still believes that he's going to come back. That's the type of dude he is, because he is that guy. But here's the thing. They did beat them last year, and with an offense not playing as well, they beat them last year with a defense that wasn't playing as well. And I do believe that this defense will be able to bounce back against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs don't have a Derrick Henry. I don't even think they have Pacheco. I don't even think they have their number 1 running back right now. They're running off of their second or third running back. Excuse me. And, that's an opportunity for this young Denver Broncos team. As long as they don't allow this loss to bring them too far down and they go into Kansas City hungry, they have a chance to steal this. They'll have to beat Kansas City again here in Denver at the end of the season, but they play, let's see, they do have another game against the Chargers. I cannot remember if they have another game against Vegas. Let me double check real quick. But the bottom line is that, yes, they still have a game against Vegas as well. So, if they can win against the Chargers, if they can win against Vegas again, and they can beat Kansas City, that's a 3-1 record in the division, and then it's a boat race. Plus, that gives the Broncos at 8-4, just with those 3 teams right now. So that puts the Broncos in a really good position, but they got to go into Kansas City really, really hungry, and they've got to pin their ears back, man, and take it, because Kansas City is not going to give it to them. I can promise you that. Kansas City is not going to just let them come into KC and beat them. They're not going to hand them that game. They are going to have to be hungry, and they are going to have to play their asses off in order to beat that team. It's going to be loud. It's going to be chipper. They are going to, those games are always, anytime you play a division rival, it's always going to be a tough game. Every game, even when the Broncos have lost to Kansas City, they have been tough games for the most part, especially the past couple of seasons. So I could see the Broncos possibly going in and beating Kansas City. I did not think the Broncos were good enough to beat Baltimore. Excuse me. And I still don't think the Broncos are good enough to beat Baltimore. And I love my team. You can see how much I love my team. I'm still going to support my team, no matter what. But there was just no chance of them beating a two-headed dragon like Jackson and Henry, plus Lamar being able to throw it to a Zay Flowers, et cetera, et cetera. So hats off to Baltimore Ravens. They beat up on a younger team and won the game. So it is what it is. They're they have an MVP, a two-time MVP under center over there. So I'm not ashamed that the Broncos lost. My team lost to the Baltimore Ravens. Most people had the Baltimore Ravens at least winning 12 to 14 games this year. I'm sure that one of those games was the Denver Broncos. So hats off to them. They are who we thought they are, right? Or thought they were. So hats off to them. And it's on to next week. Let's see if the Broncos can go into KC, shrug this one off. I really want to see how Bo Nix shrugs this game off. Does he come in? Does he go into Kansas City with a chip on his shoulder, or does he go into Kansas City and throw a bunch of interceptions because he gets rattled or nervous? That's what I want to see. I want to see what's the psyche on this kid, and up till now, he's proven his worth. He's proven his mettle going up. But this is a real true test. They got their butts whooped today, and let's see what they do against a division rival in their stadium next Sunday. Let's see. I want to see what's the moxie on this kid. But enough about my team. Let's see what else went on today. Carolina actually beats New Orleans. That's crazy. Fight for last place. Oh man, Vinny, you can't just be flashing me random pictures like that, man. Go on and put it up. I'll talk about it. Oh man, everybody's been talking about this statue, man, and
that was from Larry. He wanted that to be what?
Yeah, for sure, man. Like, what were you thinking? The sculptor, like, I don't know what's up with this. It doesn't even look like my guy. His whole legacy is being tarnished by this situation that, I guess he had a hand in. So he had to give the thumbs up, thumbs down on this. But to me, it looks like Dwayne Wade dropping a deuce. I don't know what else you can say about it. He doesn't look like he's celebrating. He looks like, I don't even know what to describe that, but it's
Larry's describing it with the Ronaldo statue here.
Oh my God, that's even worse. But man, that's bad. They need to quietly remake, remove, and then replace that statue without anybody even knowing. The sculptor, I read an article yesterday, the sculptor said, it really looks more like him if you come see it in person. And I'm like, hey man, they should hire him for a sales rep, my guy, because that's the biggest line of sales BS I've ever heard, to get somebody down to Miami just to see a statue that doesn't look anything like the person it's supposed to look like. It looks like somebody beat the hell out of Dwayne Wade, and he's getting up like, hey man, which one of y'all hit me? I don't know, man. I'm sorry, D Wade. I love you, brother. I love you. Like what you did for the NBA, man. You inspired a lot of guards and a lot of players, but my guy, you should have been like, I need 4 thumbs to give this 4 thumbs down. But you know what? You be proud of you, dog. You deserve the statue. It's not that you don't deserve the statue. You deserved a better statue, my guy. You deserved a better statue. Yeah. That's all I got to say about that, man. All right, so back to football really quick, just to give a quick synopsis of what went on today. Miami almost beats Buffalo. Miami gave Buffalo everything they wanted and more, but Buffalo pulls it out and actually wins by 3, 30-27. But I can't believe that Miami went into Buffalo and put up 27 points on them. Buffalo better do something about that defense, man. 27. I mean, Miami with Tua is a good offense. Don't get me wrong. But this dude is coming back from a concussion and whatnot, and your defense was supposed to be better than that, man. So y'all better convene and have a talk, because that's not okay. Los Angeles Chargers beat up on the Cleveland Browns. I really thought Jameis Winston was going to take command of that offense. I thought that would have been a game. I did think the Chargers would win, but I thought it would be more like a 27-24 game, not 27-10. Looked like Cleveland couldn't move the ball at all, and they obviously couldn't defend. So, and that's a pretty good defense. Cleveland has a pretty good defense. But LA, the Chargers have a better offense. They played quite well. Dallas, man. Listen, Dallas fan, I know you guys love him, and the NFL loves him, and he's done so much for the NFL. But Dallas isn't going to do crap until they get a new owner. Period, point, end of discussion. Jerry Jones can't get out of his own way. He wants to be owner, general manager, head coach. I think if the NFL would allow him, he'd be out there trying to quarterback, Vinny. I think he really would. I think Jerry Jones, if they would let him, he would be out there quarterbacking.
Dropping bombs.
He wants some glory hole, bro. So I
Stand back and bomb.
He really would. He wants some glory hole, man. So I would not be surprised if he activates himself.
It's weird
here at the end of the season, bro, because he has definitely been the owner, head coach, GM, et cetera, and he's getting everything that he deserves, and he's not getting his money's worth. That's for sure. And Dallas fan
he could have his own show, like instead of Seinfeld and having the Yankees, we could have somebody in.
Well, he does.
Cowboys.
It's funny that you say that, because I was listening to Sports Talk Radio here in Denver, and they were talking about, well, maybe it wasn't in Denver. It might have been from Fox Sports. But anyway, I listen to a lot of different podcasts. But so he does have kind of his own show. He goes on to this another show, like a local show, and talks about the Cowboys all the time. And he's been criticized by that team. And apparently he's been trying to get people fired. He's been trying to get his own staff fired for asking him questions about why he does what he does. So I'm sorry, Cowboys fans. I know you guys love him, and he has been good for the sport. But bottom line is my guy is old. His ideas are not sound, and they got beat by Atlanta. 27-21. I mean, they gave a valiant effort at the end of the game, but don't let that score fool you. That was garbage time up to 21 points. Atlanta was whooping their ass that entire game. So don't let that score fool you. I would give the Vegas Raiders, crap about getting they butt whooped 41-24, but at least they scored 24. The Denver Broncos couldn't even score more than 10 against Baltimore, and I do believe that the Raiders even beat Baltimore. How that happened, I don't know. But they get beat today by Cincinnati 41-24. Looks like an awoken giant has been awakened, a giant has been awakened. So let's see what Cincinnati can do, man. Are they going to battle it out with Baltimore for that division? We will see. That's going to be a tough division to win. We thought the Browns would be somewhere in the mix in there, but yeah, I think the Browns have kind of dropped out. It's going to be a two-party race between Baltimore and Cincinnati, and may the best team win in that division. Let's see what else happened today. Well, I guess this didn't happen today. I believe this happened the other night, right? Houston versus New York. New York is triumphant over Houston, beating them 21-13. Let's see. There's some games going on right now. Philly is winning over Jacksonville 7-0. You've got Green Bay and Detroit. That's the game I want to watch. As soon as this show's over, I'm going to finish watching that game because that's the game that I wanted to see. You talk about a division that's going to be tough to win. But I think Detroit's got a firm hold. Personally, I kind of called Detroit to kind of win the division early in this year. So hopefully they prove me right. But right now it's 0-0, and then you've got the Rams, the LA Rams, playing Seattle, and that is 0-0 as well. Arizona is up on Chicago 7-0. But I'd like to switch gears here a little bit and talk about some basketball. So, in particular, the Denver Nuggets, I know, they've had a really, really rough start, man. It hasn't been exactly what we thought it would be. I thought they would get more out of not only Michael Porter Jr., but also Russell Westbrook. I'm just not sure the chemistry's there yet. They have enough time to get that chemistry. Just hopefully they don't fall too far behind. I know last week I had said, they might need to trade MPJ, and then he goes off for 2 games, one of which he gets 26 points. Another, he gets another 20. So, he hasn't played terrible. His plus minus though, man, has been pretty bad. Against who was that? The Raptors, in a game that they won, by 2 points, and a team they're going to have to play again in the next week or so. He only put up 13 points and was a negative 10. That hurts this team. Like he doesn't play defense night in and night out. I changed my mind about trading him because I do see the flashes. Like if he could, maybe not even just the defense, maybe if he could just get some boards, man, maybe he can change my mind thoroughly. But then in the game versus Brooklyn, he had a solid 16-point game and he was a +6. So that means he played a little bit of defense that game. But had he played a little bit better defense, I mean, the whole starting lineup played really, really well. They were all plus in the plus-minus column for that game in Brooklyn. Really, the difference was Russell Westbrook in that game. I feel like the Denver Nuggets are not getting the bang for their buck with Michael Porter Jr. I don't know if it's that this kid in his mind wants a bigger role, or if he, is just not in the right headspace. I don't know what the case is. I really don't. I wish I could pinpoint and put my finger on exactly what is wrong with him. But I could tell you this. He's not owning up to his, and he's even come out and said, he hates having the max contract. He'd rather play for free, which is BS, but he'd rather play for free because with the max contract comes with a whole lot of responsibility. And it's like, yeah, you can't get the max contract just off of your name because that's basically what he did. I don't think he earned that max contract, but the Broncos, the Nuggets couldn't take a chance on him, going somewhere else and becoming a star, and they used a first-round draft pick on him and not, re-signing him, and he wouldn't re-sign without a big contract. So he kind of raked the Nuggets over the coals. It kind of feels like a Kenyon Martin situation, except for he's obviously a better player than Kenyon Martin. But the fact of the matter is that it seems like a Kenyon Martin situation where he has the talent, he just doesn't have the drive or the want or the desire to be the best role player in his role that he can be. He wants to be something other than what the Nuggets need him to be. They need him to be a 3-and-D guy. You're 6'10". I yell at the TV all the time, like, this dude is always constantly doing layups and trying to do finger rolls. And I'm like, man, you're 6'10", bruh. Why are you not dunking the ball? Why are you going up so weak that people, from behind you can catch you and swat your shot away, man? What are you? I just wish they could get more out of MPJ. Aaron Gordon seems to be playing really, really, really well. He's not only scoring at a high click, he's making his free throws. He's making 3-point shots. I think the biggest surprise to me and most Nuggets fans, now I knew he was going to play well on the defensive end. What I didn't know is that Christian Brown was going to be this offensive weapon that the Nuggets can utilize. I mean, everybody was talking about who's going to replace KCP. How are you going to replace those numbers? Well, Christian Brown was like, hold my beer. Because he's able to put up better numbers than KCP. Now, is he a better defender than KCP? No. He gets in a little more foul trouble than KCP does. KCP was the master at swatting the ball away when an offensive player was going up for his shot. Brown is not really that guy. He defends really, really well, and he makes your shot very hard for you. But he's not that guy. But the numbers bear out. They showed it on the game the other night or last night when they played against Utah, how he's produced more points. He's produced, pretty much he has a higher field goal percentage. The only thing that he hasn't produced better is he's at like 34% at the 3-point line, and KCP was like 41%. So if he improves on his 3-point shooting over the course of the season and gets to about a 41%, then he's exactly matched or exceeded KCP in every single statistical category that he could do in order to help the Nuggets. He just needs, somebody besides Nikola Jokic and Aaron Gordon. Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. need to step up. Jamal, I don't know what is wrong with. I love Jamal Murray. That is my guy. I'm not saying they should trade him or anything like that. It's just that he seems to be not playing within the parameters of the offense anymore. He's kind of lone wolf in it, and I don't know if he's not liking the fact that he's playing little brother to Jokic or what the case may be, or maybe he's just injured and not telling anybody. But he does need to play better. We have seen flashes of him playing really, really well. But 17 points, even 24, dude, he needs to average 25 points a game in order for this Nuggets team to be successful. And, I know he went down in the Minnesota game, didn't look flagrant. And God, I wish they would just beat that team. They came so close to winning that game. I just hate the cockiness of Minnesota. I can't stand that team. They've become the new Lakers for us as Denver Nuggets fans and Nuggets Nation. They have literally become the new Lakers, because the Lakers, even though they are doing way better than the Denver Nuggets right now, still are right now our little brother to the Denver Nuggets until they can beat the Denver Nuggets. And until then, what is this you're flashing on the screen? Is this the Grateful Dead night jersey? Is that what that is?
That's available at the next game. That's
actually pretty dope. I kind of like that. Who I know definitively who would wear that and who would like that shirt?
Mr. Mark.
Mr. Mark. Mr. Mark would like that. Maybe for Christmas, my guy. Maybe for Christmas. We'll see what Santa's got in his sleigh, all right?
Going on here.
The Denver Nuggets also need more from Julian Strawther coming off of the bench. Now, He's had flashes. He's had flashes, man, but they need more from that kid. He gets into a lot of foul trouble, and that keeps him off the court. But man, if he could not have so much foul trouble And if he could get his game together, I mean, his little dewdrop shot or his little, one-handed floater, that's a killer, man, especially at the end of a game. If he can maintain that, coach will have him in the game in crunch time. I remember when Coach Malone was leaving in what was that boy's name? Now I can't think of his name, so I can't go into the analogy. But the fact of the matter is that I just know that this coach will give him more minutes. Now, we've seen a lot of Hunter Tyson the past couple of games, and he's played really, really well. I like his effort and I like his energy. I'm wondering if he is on that trading block, because I know the Nuggets know that they have depth issues right now. They have depth issues. They do not have, Saric is not playing up to par either. This dude used to be the Nuggets killer when it came off offensive boards. Why he can't do that here in Denver, I don't understand. I am really, really baffled at the fact that this dude doesn't have, 10 plus rebounds a night. He's not really a shot blocker, just like Jokic isn't a shot blocker, but he's a shot disruptor, and he hasn't been able to do that. He's been dang near in the negative in every game that he's played for the Denver Nuggets, and I really was high on him. I was high on the pickup. Because I remember watching when he played for Golden State and a couple of other teams, he would come into Denver or Denver would go into wherever he was playing, mainly Golden State, and this guy would disrupt he would just be a pest on the offensive boards, and he doesn't seem to do that here, and I'm a little worried about that because that's kind of what they need him to do. Rebounds create extra possessions, so especially on the offensive end, obviously it creates an extra possession. So that's all he should be doing is going out there and getting rebounds. And Michael Porter Jr. should be camping in the corner, waiting for a 3-point shot and crashing on the boards whenever the shot goes up. And if it's not his shot, taking it, or if he's not taking the shot, he should be crashing the boards. On defense, he does, back to Michael Porter Jr., I should say. He's just letting teams just fly by, or players just fly by him. He just needs to step up his game, and I think the Nuggets might be okay. If not, they're going to have to make some moves. Peyton Watson hasn't played very well either. He's had 15 to 20 minutes, and I don't even think he's averaging more than 3 points a game. His jump shot from 3-point land is ugly AF, and it's been terrible to watch. It has been. It's been, that's the exact sound I think of when he shoots his shot, man, when he shoots a three and he misses. But with that said, because I've just been rambling about my teams, I want to make sure I get in Mr. Ryan's rejects, Ryan's reacts. He's gonna like that. But go ahead and run it, Vinny. All right. Holding on. What happened?
Happy Sunday, Sportz Phenz. And welcome back to Ryan's Reacts. Arthur, play my sound effect. Bam! Let's get after it. Starting off in college football. So a path has opened up for the CU Buffs to get to the college football playoff after big losses by both Kansas State and Iowa State. CU just needs one more loss from Iowa State, which could happen the last week of the year against Kansas State, if not earlier. If that happens, they would control their own destiny, and they are favored to win the rest of their games this season. So huge week for CU, even though they did not play themselves. The SEC also opened up with an A&M loss. I don't think anyone actually expected A&M to run the table, so not a huge surprise. More so surprising the week that it came as opposed to that it did come. Also no surprise that Ohio State completely outclassed Penn State yet again. Record crowd at Happy Valley, over 111,000, was not enough to get the Nittany Lions over over the hump. They did keep the crowd involved in the game going into the
no.
quarter. However, outside of that fumble.
Oh no, it's crashing.
Oh no! All right. Well,
I'll get it there. Hold on. Where'd it go?
we're so professional here.
No, it just disappeared on me.
All right. Well, I did like. Here we go. Do it start it all over?
No. I'll sweep them in there. Google's doing something. See that right there?
I do.
That's crushing. For
I do.
Don't know.
All right. Well, I did like his take on CU. CU are the masters of their own destiny going forward now. He's absolutely right. Dead on, as usual, Mr. Ryan. I do love that take because if Kate... here we go.
Hold on,
Sunday
I'm going to
Sports
jump up to
Fiends.
about right
Welcome back.
about there.
His press conference. We'll see if that's enough to actually make a difference.
Oh, it's
going
pretty
into
close.
Next time that matchup happens. And then thanks to a big win against Pittsburgh, as well as a Clemson loss, the Southern Methodist University, of all teams, SMU, does also control their own destiny to get to the college football playoff. Guarantee you that sentence has never been said before this year. Congrats to them. Let's see what they do with the opportunity.
Right.
In the NBA, too early to take my victory lap on the 7-0 Cleveland Cavaliers. Hopefully not too early because I'm going to take it anyway. In Orlando, also a promising start. Paolo Banchero, 37, 38, whatever it was in the first half the other night. That injury obviously making a huge difference on the trajectory for the rest of this year. But I feel good about those picks overall. And then regarding the Embiid situation, obviously not pretty, not the way that you would like to see someone handle that sort of thing. But let's be honest, hot take reporting can get out of hand. There's not the same accountability that you get anywhere else in life. You can't just talk about people's family and expect no repercussions at all.
Yeah.
Obviously not remotely appropriate the way Embiid handled it. But that's exactly why I'm glad the Celtics did not let Kendrick Perkins show up at, the ring night the way he wanted to, or, walk back in that locker room or in that building the way he wants to. You can't just slander, a team over and over again, drag these players' names through the mud, and
then
expect
get
there
love.
to be no repercussions for
Yeah.
that. You're slandering them for your own benefit. That's not the way that the world works. You don't just get to do that and not face consequences for it. So good for them for giving that treatment. And obviously not good for Embiid for treating that reporter that way, but also don't talk about the man's family. In the NFL, Rodgers, is he the problem in New York, or is the coaching? Some great playmakers on that team on both offensive and defensive sides of the ball, as we saw. Obviously, Reddick joining that defense finally is a huge addition, but there's too many mistakes to think that team has a very high ceiling. Is that the coaching? Is that Rodgers' leadership? Whatever it is, gotta clean up the mistakes. It's the only time I mentioned the Cowboys this year. Jerry Jones has to sell the team. It's the only hope for that franchise. Tyreek Stevenson, Bears cornerback.
There it is.
The Commanders fan base prior to giving up that Hail Mary completion for the game-winning touchdown. He's lucky he still has a job after that. As a Packers fan, very happy to see the Bears misery as always. And then finally in the MLB, quick shout out to the Dodgers, as much as I hate to say it. Obviously, congrats to them. If you believe in war, the Red Sox were a Mookie Betts extension and a Chris Sale non-trade away from winning about 95 games this year. I just want to point that out. As always, Ryan's Reacts, brought to you by the Yankee tears injected into my veins this entire past week. This is Ryan's Reacts. Happy Sunday, Sportz Phenz.
Oh, man, he really hates the Yankees, man. He really does. He's a Boston fan through and through. Good takes all the way around, man. There's a lot to unpack there. But good takes all the way around, as usual, my guy. A couple of things on what he was talking about. Again, the CU situation. That is the epitome of you have your destiny in the palm of your hand. I mean, of course, Iowa State does need to lose a game. And again, that could be like Ryan pointed out, that could be that game that they have to play against K-State. They just have to win out. Just win. Just win out. Don't worry about who needs to lose. Just win the games that are in front of you, and you should be good going forward. And then about the Embiid situation, I agree wholeheartedly. We as the media or even podcasters or whatnot, the accountability is not there. A lot of people just be dropping hot takes or what they think are hot takes or they call hot takes. And to me, a hot take has to have at least some chance of probability. You can't just be throwing out different things and just, it's a hot take. No, that's all about that. That's stupid. That's stupid. And there does need to be a lot more accountability. When I'm giving criticism, I'm hoping that I'm giving criticism, just like when I talked about, Coach Payton. I'm coming at it from maybe you should do this. I'm not telling him what he can or can't do. He gets paid the millions of dollars. This is a Super Bowl winning coach. I'm just some local that lives here in Denver, has been watching football since the 80s. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm pretty football savvy. It's not that I'm saying I don't know anything, but the fact of the matter is that I don't know as much as he does. Otherwise I would be in his position. So, my criticism is coming from a fan's perspective, and I'm not giving a hot take. I'm just saying that, he needs to probably get out of his own way and do what he needs to do. But in the Embiid situation, Ryan's absolutely correct. You can't just talk about somebody's family and don't think that you talk about my daughters, you talk about my family, bruh, damn the job, we're going to have more than words. And you just don't do that. You just don't do that, especially if you're in the media and whatnot. You just don't do that. Unless you're in politics, but this isn't politics. This is the NBA. This is sports. So you don't go after a man's family based upon something he does on or even off the court. I'm not even a big fan of Embiid. Do I think that he's a phenomenal, great player? Yes. He's going to go down as one of the greatest centers of all times. He's pretty much unstoppable on offense, and he does play pretty solid defense. He is at least a rim protector. He can't move his feet as fast. If you can get him up on the high block and get him in a pick and roll situation, he kind of, he's not the fleet of foot. So you can get him in that way. But for the most part, if they play the type of defense that Philadelphia wants to play, where all he has to do is kind of hover around the low blocks back and forth, and play that, weak side or that strong side, as soon as they drive to the basket, I'm just going to swat it away. He could do that all day. And he's a great player, man. He's done a lot for the city of Philadelphia. He does deserve a bit of the vitriol that he is getting, though. I'm not going to lie to you, Philly fan, nor am I going to pull any punches, Mr. Embiid. The bottom line is that you do take vacations in the middle of the season. And you were capable of playing for the U.S. overseas for a gold medal, but you can't play for the contract that you're being paid for. So you do deserve at least a bit of the criticism that you're receiving from Philly fan. But I don't think it goes to as far as to anybody, whether it's the player or the media personnel. I don't think that it's right to go after somebody's family. The bottom line is that the family is not playing. Now, if your family is coming into the news and dropping, bombs and saying stuff, then, they're fair game at that point. But if they're not, if it's kids, if it's, wives and stuff like that, people who have nothing to do with basketball are being slandered or having adverse things happen to them, that's just wrong. I don't care who you are or what you do. You should not be treated in that manner. What happens on the basketball court happens on the basketball court, and that is it. That is all. Embiid, get off your ass and play the game, and play through some of these damn injuries, play at least a 80 or 75 game season. I can see you missing like 7 games of the year, that's fine, but the fact of the matter is, hey, you got to play. And that's going to do it for me this week. Thank you for tuning in or watching the podcast. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube. You can also find us on Facebook at Sportz Phenz. That is at Sportz Phenz on Facebook. We will be having an IG. I know I keep saying that. I just have, I have a life too. No, I'm just messing. I'm gonna get it done though, guys. On behalf of the Sportz Phenz, I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget to go to Sohai Cafe, hit up Vinny, get you some ribs for next week's game. We will see you next week at 2 p.m. Peace. Man, this fly was like all up in my